Thank you for being here. I know we're all busy. I know we all have, a lot of you guys have kids in training right now or this evening. We appreciate you. We'd love to be able to work around everyone's schedule, but as you can see, it's a pretty full room. So we got to set a date, set a time, get ready to meet and go. We're recording this, as you can see, so if you have questions, we'll kind of ask them towards the end. We're doing this because without fail, I'll probably have 30 emails in the next 2 days about questions. It's just easier to send the video with information than to individually reply. So it's a time saver for us, time saver for me. So at the end, if you have questions, definitely want to answer those, but we'll get through the information without further ado. Before I get started, if I haven't had the honor and privilege of meeting you, my name is Bill. I am the head coach and kind of run the coaching aspects of this program. It takes a village, as you'll see. I've had the pleasure of coaching the guys team for a decade and the girls team for 4 years now, going on 5. It's been a blast. Behind me, you'll see several of our other coaches, and they don't have to be here, but they want to be here. They're here. I don't even think I asked them, and they were like, "Yeah, we're here." Just so you can have the opportunity to see them before we get going. If you have questions later, feel free to ask any of us. But we got Shelby Wall. She's the varsity assistant coach for the women. Rohan Sen, varsity assistant coach for the men. Ben McQueen, JV head coach for the guys, for the men as well. So I'm glad they're here. Take a chance to introduce yourselves to them later if you want. We'll go ahead to the first slide. So I'm just going to give you the framework first. Right, these are going to be the things that you need, right? There's a checklist up there, and these are the 4 big things that we want to make sure that you have for your athlete, or athletes if you're in the room, that you have prepared before trials. Especially number 1, that's Dragonfly. I'm going to go through each of these individually, but you got to register your athlete. You got to have Dragonfly. 2, we've got a Google form that we'll post in a minute, right? And that's our information, so we know who's trying out. Right, Dragonflies are kind of electronic health records, keeps up with your physical, make sure you're cleared. But the Google form lets us know who's anticipating trying out. In order to do that, we're able to check and see if people are prepared. We do our best. There's a lot of individuals that either miss the form or don't read the form in its entirety and may check that they're ready and they're not. But tonight, I hope to make things crystal clear so everybody's ready come night 1. And then the third step, this is going to be a unique year in tryouts. We'll have different locations, varying times, and it's like that because that's the field space we have. There's multiple sports going on between football, ladies flag football, marching band. Everybody uses the facility, so we share and we get the field space when we can. And the reason why we try out this early is to give you an opportunity to make your decisions on whether or not you want to accept, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Accept the position. We got to order stuff, and it takes a while to get in. So we host tryouts in September in order to be prepared come season. Last year we did the same thing, and we had jerseys coming in like game week, right, week 1. So we need time, and that's why we do it. And then the last, I'll show you where to check, because that's a big question. That's a question that gets asked a lot, where to check, where we post rosters, where we post cuts and things like that. So those are the 4 big things. We'll go into, next slide. We'll go into, so if you're not familiar with our Auburn City Schools website, please get familiar. It's auburnhightigers.org. That's where we'll have information for all the different levels. And I'll put a QR code in a little bit. That'll take you directly to that website. But that's going to be a source of information that you're going to want to be familiar with, including cuts and final roster. So you want to know where that is. But it's also going to take you to Dragonfly. If you go to the next slide, Ben. I circled it for you. Up the top, if you're in your desktop, it'll see register your athlete. You click on that, it'll take you to Dragonfly. So if you know where the auburnhightigers.org website is, you click on register your athlete. If you're athlete has tried out for any other sport, especially within the last, this year, last year, they're going to have a Dragonfly account. But we want to make sure that it's current and up to date. So go to the next slide. This is the Dragonfly account. So what it look like. That is my daughter. As you can tell, there's still stuff that I got to have her do. Her physical needs to be updated. It'll be good through tryouts, but it needs to be updated. If you can go to it'll tell you, it'll give you a percentage reading. Have you done everything you need to do in order for your athlete to be cleared to try out? Right, and I'm super clear about this, guys, because this is not our rule, but we do have to abide by it. It happens inevitably every year. Someone comes for the evaluations. They don't have physical. They don't have Dragonfly. We have to turn you away, right? Like we cannot, due to liability, we cannot have people trying out that are not cleared. This gives us evidentiary support that you're cleared, right? So if you don't have step one, like you can't even try out. Your athlete can't try out. So we got to make sure that we do that before trial. 2, you guys can snap a photo first, right? And make sure that you have this QR code. If you can't see, if you're too far, like we'll roll through them at the end if you need to. But this is our Google form. It's just a Google Forms doc that's going to ask for information. You can open it up if you have service in here. If not, welcome to the rest of our issues. But it'll ask information like, what's your athlete's name? What grade are they in? Are they currently engaged in participating in a program? If so, what's the year? What's the coach? It gives us information so we have more. We're not flying as blind when we get 100 kids per program coming to try out, right? It gives us context. So we're able to communicate with coaches because, guys, let's be real. Tryouts are 4 days, right? There's a lot of moments. And we get a lot of coaches out there. Our coaches cross-reference programs. So like a lot of the ladies' staff will be there for the guys and vice versa. There's a lot of eyes, but we're not going to see everything. So the more information we have helps us and helps your athlete be more visible. Okay, times and locations. I'm not going to go through, all those, but they're posted there. If you follow Instagram, they're posted there. But I do want you to notice on day 2, Tuesday, we'll be at Duck Sanford, right? The other 3 days we'll be training at Auburn High Soccer, the track right out here, right? Auburn High School. I'm so used to saying Auburn High Soccer. But we'll be at Auburn High track and practice field down here during those times. But on Tuesday, we'll be at Duck Sanford. I put in there parentheses with the asterisk, we'll probably post cuts Tuesday night and what that looks like. Again, from the auburnhightigers.org, we'll post the numbers or the identifying information for the individuals that we are inviting back. There's just too many kids, right, to have out there for 4 days and have a quality assessment. And I'll tell you right now, we're looking for physical ability, technical ability, good attitude, so your mental ability and your motion regulation. If you have those things, there's a good chance you come back on day 3. Right, technical skills, like maybe we haven't played a lot of soccer, we're not touching the ball very neatly or cleanly, or we run one sprint and we're done, stuff like that, we're less likely to get invited back. And I just want to be very honest, right, and tell you what the standards are and what we base our decisions off of. We have a kind of a grading matrix for that to help us and help organize, but that is what we'll be looking for. That's fine. The last 2 days will be the more condensed trial, and then we'll post final rosters probably on Friday, right? There's an Auburn City Schools rule that we can't post like during the school day, and usually deliberations, discussion, because there's a lot of hard decisions. Usually it's pretty late by the time that we get everything decided, everything finalized, and we don't ask our athletic director or staff to wait up till midnight to post it, so we probably post it Friday. So this is the important information that people usually ask, like, where is it? We'll tell the kids. Literally, I'll tell them 7 times. Like, it seems comical, and there's no exaggeration. This is where it will be. This is where it will be. like over and over, and there's still questions. So this is probably number one question. Where do I find, right, I told you, auburnhightigers.org. I'll tell you, this year, just being honest, like to be transparent, this year is going to be different than last year. I'm going to tell you how, like the thought process behind how we set up rosters, set up program development, set up the systems of play. Last year we took larger groups, right, just like they do at collegiate level, just like they do at premier level, right? You take a larger group and then you compete to be like on the game day roster, right? And fundamentally, I still believe that's a good idea. One of the issues we came into, no matter what type of conversations we had, right, no matter what conversations and direct conversations, here's what you need to do to improve your game as a central midfield player, right? Here's how you need to increase in order to compete, because it's a competition, right? We're competing against the best in the state. Competition against each other helps us, primes us to be better. But no matter how many times we had that conversation, there was still a lot of disappointment and not earning playing time, and I think that hurt culture a little bit. I do an exit interview with seniors. I like to get information from them, and that was one of their key feedback, right? And I believe in player autonomy. I think that's great. And they're like, you know, we understand why, but a lot of players, no matter what, they were frustrated, disappointed. So we're going to take that feedback. It's going to be smaller rosters. What that looks like, last year we had about 24 at the top level. We're probably cutting 4 of those, right? Which leaves roughly 18 field players, 2 keepers. So you cut 4 from the top, right? That pushes probably the next 4 in based on age to the junior varsity level, which then pushes, they had a large, and we'll see what that looks like for them, but that'll push again. And so like there'll be a little bit smaller rosters this year, which means they'll be more competitive, right? And I think you should know that now, and we're going to tell the players, right? There's no point in be direct and honest from the beginning of what we're looking at and why we do it. And I want you to know why, right? Even though I do believe you can still develop, and you know, technically, like I don't think emotionally we were ready to accept, and unfortunately, I think that's the way it is. We weren't emotionally ready to accept that it needs to be better in order for me to get here, right? Instead, it was just disappointment and sadness, and that kind of hurts the team instead of being excited for your teammates. And that's not everybody, but this is feedback from players. This is feedback directly from the athletes. Another question. Oh yeah, no guarantees. Here's the facts. This is a tryout, right? This is an evaluation. There has been, has never been, will never be guaranteed spots, right? If we do that, it is no longer a tryout. It is who has seniority and who came first, right? And I've had parents ask, what about the loyalty, right? We're going to give, as a staff, as a program, we're going to give everything that we can, the best way we can. It's not perfect, but absolutely no way perfect. We're going to give all the energy we can while you're there, right? And what you do with it, how you work in the off season, should be rewarded, right? So if you were on varsity, for example, last year, right, and someone in a lower grade or even same grade that didn't have the same opportunity worked their tail off, right? And they're better come tryouts, and the evaluation grade is higher, they will replace that player. There's no guarantees, right? And I'm telling you this, right, because cuts is the worst part of what we do, right? It's part of the job. I hate tryouts once it's over, right? I'm going to be honest. I've had difficult conversations, and the last thing we want to do is disappoint a kid, bottom line, right? And if I'm aware, right, that at times we have to be the bad guy, I guess, but I'm letting you know, right, there are no guarantees. It is a tryout. If your kid's been working and they compete, they're going to have a fair chance, right? And in fact, right, if we've seen players for a year and you know, there's not progression, and there's a player that's progressing a lot, like what's that say? We just want to be real honest, point blank, have the conversation here, right? Like nothing is guaranteed. Nobody gets, you know, roster saved. You got to try out. You got to earn it, right? And that's what makes it competitive. We truly believe that. And I think we have a lot of safeguards in place to I mean, human beings are going to have bias, but I think we have a lot of safeguards in place that help remove that, keep it data-driven. Club and school commitment is probably the second question I get asked, right? What do I do if my child makes the school team, right, but also has the opportunity to play the club team? And I want you to hear, like, eyeballs here, like, we want what's best for your kid, right? We want what's best for your kid. So if your kid is going to develop more at club, and that's where they want to be, stay with club. There is no hard feelings. I think people get worried, like, if I give up a spot, you know, on the junior varsity team this year, like, is that going to hurt my chances next year? Like, if you look at, again, like, data speaks for itself. If you look at kids who are getting better, like, they're getting opportunities. If your child thinks that they've got a space to grow in their club team and it's competitive, right? Like, stay there. Stay there if that's what they prefer. I'm also not going to tell you can't play school, right? Like, you made school and you're on a club team, but I'm not going to let you, like, it's your decision, right? But play club. I'll be honest, I have two daughters who are eligible, right? My eldest played junior varsity last year. Very proud of her. But my younger daughter, she's eligible, but, like, I'm encouraging her and would encourage her to stay with her club team. All right, there's a low probability. She's a baller. I'm not gonna lie. There's a low probability that she's gonna make the varsity team. That's just the facts, right? And her club team is super competitive, right? They play great teams. They're playing a year up. We're going, you know, playing difficult matches, and she's going to grow a lot. And that's what I want for her, right? So, I mean, that's my own daughter. I'm just telling you, like, if you hear things, here's the facts. We want what's best for your kid. So I know we're going to get questions, but, like, choose what works best for your child and your family, and we'll support you. And if that's not school, great. Like, we'll see you next year. We hope. The other thing, like, come tryout weeks, we get. So this is AHSAA. This is not Auburn. This is Alabama High School Athletic Association. You get a 10-week window, 10-day window, 5 days. This is why all 4 of our days are together. We realize you have training obligations. Your athletes do. They have practices, right? If they cannot make it, just have them let us know, right? Like, we're not going to, like, penalize them because they've got, you know, an ECNL training session on Tuesday that they got to be in Birmingham. Like, no, like, that's not how we roll. Like, just let us know, have them communicate with us. All right, we understand. In a perfect world, we get everybody during this exact time slot for all 4 days. That's in a perfect world, right? It's imperfect. Do what they can to be there, so it helps us, give us the best, the maximal opportunity to see them, to evaluate them. If we only get 1 day evaluation, we're going to have to base all that weight on that 1 day. But also, like, you got to do what you got to do, right? And we're not gonna be no punishment because you didn't come or you couldn't come. Like, if you don't show up and you had no excuse, that kind of tells us a little bit about commitment already. But we know that you're going to have obligations, so no need to email and say, what if they have this? Like, if they can't come, just have them communicate with the coach while they're there, so we can note that. Finances, we'll go very detailed into finances once rosters are posted. We have a booster and team meeting, but they will. I'm gonna let you know they're going to increase this year. We just, like, our program's growing. We went to a lot of, you know, overnight stays, a lot of travel, a lot of expenses. We're fortunate to play in the state championship game. Like, this costs money. And as a result, like, we in order to continue to do what we need to do, we're going to increase finances. We'll tell you exact numbers. We're still working on that. But for the girls' side alone, we spent a lot more than we brought in. Now, we're going to have opportunities to fundraise. And again, like, I will tell you that, but just be expecting finances will be increasing this year. And we'll dive into that if your child makes the program. So it is competitive, right? And there is a commitment, right? If your child is doing 3 or 4 different things, and I really believe this. We try really hard to work with other athletic programs. Like we've had some kids do track and soccer, basketball, soccer, tennis, soccer. I think we work with the other coaching staff well, and I think we're reasonable. But it is competitive, right? And it requires a commitment. Most of these teams are training 4 days a week, right? And like we're traveling and playing because we like to go play better teams, and so we have to do that. So it is a commitment. If like I try to say that, like point blank, but every year, like someone's like, this is too much. And it may be, right? But in order to, I think, reach the heights that the players want to, the coaching staff wants to, like it requires a big commitment. So just want you to know that now. Our team, you know, our like I said, our ladies varsity team was in the state championship last year. If you don't know, close results. Our guys, very close as well. You know, tied the state champs, lost in penalties in the Elite Eight. Like both teams are there, right? So it's competitive, and so if your child is, anybody can come try out. But just letting you know, like this may not be like some other schools or even some other athletic programs within our own school. Like it's pretty real. So just letting you know. This is the athletics website. Most of you guys have found it, right? If you want to snapshot, that's where you can go under soccer, and we'll post. If you're a female, it'll be under women's soccer. If you're a male, it'll be under men's soccer. But that's where we'll post cuts and final rosters. Next one. This is a reminder, right? Information is tough, guys, right? There's not like we send the information. I was told today, and I don't know, you know, how accurate, but I was told that some of the information didn't get translated to the junior high, and we apologize. We were told that it was. We had confirmation said that it was. We send things out on our social media. Beyond that, like we can't physically do it. It requires somebody else. But just as a reminder, we'll have after tryouts, if your athlete is selected for either of the programs, we'll have a meeting that night. So go ahead and put it in your calendar to remind yourself. That's our Instagram. If you don't follow us. One, like let's grow soccer in our community. Two, like we do put information, including dates, times, locations, you know, all of that on our social media. It's also a cool way to follow the team throughout the season. That's an email. Any questions now? Back up one side. Can you back up one? Question. I saw a hand. Yeah, absolutely. Good question. Thank you for asking. So one of the reasons many reasons we try to post numbers. One, it helps us with tracking because there's too many names and we don't know everybody. So numbers helps with that. We post numbers. If someone declines, right, then we will go to the next person, if eligible, on the waiting list. So that's why there'll be an email that comes out, or it'll say at the bottom of that, like, please email and accept this within 24 hours, right? So we give you a day to think about it. You know, you probably know by that time whether or not you want to accept or not. You know, probably already be making that decision if you're going to be. If I make varsity, I'm definitely taking it, I hope. If I make JV, I may play club. And that's fine. Like I don't work as close with Crush. Like I don't like when Demi was there, we communicated a lot. But I work with Auburn Soccer Club, and you know, spoke with Megan and you know, their board the other day, and you know, they're going to help. Like if there's an area where kids want to play, like we're going to find a way. Like in an ideal world, everybody's got a place to play. We all enjoy the beautiful game, but yeah, there'll be time. They've encouraged there'll be time to find a place for them to play, and we'll see what it looks like to make that happen. Yep. Sure. So the different levels, varsity is grade 7 through 12. Anybody in there is eligible for that, right? Probability of 7th, 8th, and 9th is lower, right? Just because of development, but it's there. Like they're eligible for that. Junior varsity, we do have juniors on the team, but it kind of depends. But it would be anybody from that kind of junior status down to 9th grade. And then the junior high is going to be like the 9th and 8th grade, 7th grade team. Like it'll be a freshman team. We moved that. It used to be called middle school, right? But we made a junior high distinction to we were losing a lot of 9th graders, right? It's a massive school. It's one of the largest in the States. We were losing a lot of 9th graders, so we wanted to capture them, give them a place to play, but also be pretty competitive. So we split that. There's now 2 varsities, girls and guys, 2 junior high, 2 JVs, 2 junior highs. So good question.
Have y'all named a JV girls coach yet?
JV girls coach is very close. We've gotten approval, and we've got acceptance that we've got to go through. Auburn City is very thorough. We got to go through the process. So as soon as that's cleared, we'll announce. But we're excited. Yep. Can you say that a little bit louder? So for varsity, it'll probably be around 20 this year. Well, 20. 18 field players, 2 keeps. JV, we're gonna have to. It's gonna depend, right? It'll probably be similar. We want kids to have the opportunity to train, and we'll do it similar to last year where we have teams down there. We have technical. Like when I say teams, we'll have varsity, junior high, JV. It helps with all of us to be together. People worry about the space, but I promise you, you're getting more touches in a smaller space, and our kids are playing decent soccer. I think the product speaks for itself, and we're going to continue to grow. But everybody will be together in different areas, and we'll have to see about that roster size. It'll probably be similar, maybe based on a couple decisions where it goes. But it's going to be competitive. Same. Last year's 15, right? That was number. If we can be 18, that'd be great. But even then, we made some cuts, right? It's competitive. Even then there was non-selections because our aim is to make it a competitive environment so these kids can grow. I'll tell you right now, if you when you come to the parent meeting, I'll say this as well. This is not an everybody plays sport, right? It's great when that happens, right? It's great when that happens, but it is earn your playing time. Go get it. I don't know if anybody's been following Colorado lately. All prime time making waves. I saw a clip of him. He told you it came down to the numbers. If you want 10, he wants 10. You better be better than him. Right? It is a competition. So that's how playing time is. Compete. And we're going to support. And I've loved it. I really do. And players come and ask me about time, right? What do I need to do? Because playing time is a reflection of your performance in training. And they'll ask. And then inevitably, those kids are, they're getting better. We'll tell them, but it's different when they come open, ready to ask. But it is not, my child, which I think it says a lot about our JV coach last year. We miss you, Madison. But we were at a tournament, she didn't play a single minute an entire game, right? That's the dad in me, it'd be great if she played, right? but like it's also like, hey, if you want to get there, like you got to compete, right? You're not getting any favors, right? Your coach is going to make you earn it, which is that's what we do. Any other questions? These are good questions. Okay. Last thing I'll say is I thought of when they get there and check in, like if like we aim, as you saw tonight, like we start at 6, right? If that's our time, that's when we go. That's something that I think we try to do well is start on time, in early. So if it's training, we end on time. We're usually not dismissing early all the time or much on training, but we're going to end on time. But come that first night, right? If your kid is able to show up a little bit early and get their number and get checked in, like that helps, right? Because there's a funnel issue. There's only so much we can do to get kids ready and on the field. So even though we plan to start, on time, like getting checked in that first night. So if they have the ability to be there a little early, that could be great. Don't be 2 hours early though. All right. If you do have another question, maybe you, just other information, we'll be here. All right. You can come ask the staff. 30 minutes. All right. So we're out. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you. Go Tigers.